So anyone who was at our house growing up, they were either their parents didn't know where they were or their parents didn't care where they were. We were definitely where the bad kids were. We knew how to do that really well. And up until high school, we had been like the outcasts. And then, let's say in third grade, I had an experience where it was show and tell, and I had brought in a bunch of my things from my family, Native American things, my family is Native American, amongst a few other things, but my mom and dad are both Indian, and not the kind that gets a check, though. Everyone seems to think that just because you're Native American, now you get this big check. And unfortunately for me, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, neither the tribes that my family is from have casinos. So there's no big fat check coming. The closest thing I get from getting anything is great health care. Wonderful health care, I'll say that. However, so I had brought in all these things for show and tell into class. It was my third grade class. And I had like a bunch of outfits for my Barbies. I had made all these Indian Barbies because, at the time there was only blonde hair, blue-eyed Barbie. That was it. And so I made my own Indian Barbie. And some arrowheads and some other things like that belonged to my family. And the teacher had excused herself right before I started setting up to go to the restroom. So she comes back in while I'm in the middle of my presentation, and she comes right up to the desk, and she takes her arm like this, and she just slides it down the desk and takes all of my things and slides them right into the trash can, okay? And I'm in third grade. You can imagine, I don't know what the heck to do. And then she said, "How dare you come into my classroom and talk about those dirty people?" She's like, "You go into the back of the room and you sit there in the back of the room and don't say anything." And I went home and cried for 2 weeks. My mom went into the school and ripped him a new asshole and whatever. They said, "Look, she's old and prejudiced. What do you want us to do? It's a small town. She's the only third grade teacher there is. So go ahead and deal with it." And for the rest of the year, I literally had to sit in the back of the classroom and nobody got to talk to me. I didn't get to go to recess. It was insane. It was insane. And you do that these days, and man, we would have been super rich because we would have sued the hell out of that school, You can't do anything like that now at all, of course, fortunately. However, my family, just me, myself, my brother, and my mom, we sat down and we decided, look, you can't tell what nationality we are. You see how light-skinned I am. And so we didn't say anything else about being Native American because it was obviously a big hassle, and figured we'd keep it to ourselves. Then come high school, and that movie Blood In, Blood Out comes out. And man, that changed everything, okay? All of a sudden it became really cool to be a minority and to be poor. We went from being the outcast to being the cool kids. Everything changed. And it was like, so then we had all of these kids that wanted to come hang out and be cool and be part of the group. And it was really quite a change. And, we did all the bad stuff, we engaged in gang activity. We did all kinds of tagging. I had gone down and oh my gosh, spray painted all the cars at the car dealership. Just all kinds of insanity. And we really got in a lot of trouble. And so then I got expelled from school. I was expelled. And I couldn't even go to continuation school. They were like, "No way, we won't have you. We're not going to do it." I really did a good job of raising some hell. But everything happens for a reason, because I went to this charter community home study program, and I had these amazing teachers there, because you go to school for 3 days a week, and they'd help you do your work or whatever. And I had this art teacher, and she was really a very smart lady, and she had talked me into cosmetology school. And she said, "Hey, look, if you go to cosmetology school, you will be doing art, but you'll get paid for it, And so I thought that would be a great idea. So I had a couple babysitting businesses. I washed and ironed clothes. I did all kinds of stuff to save up the money to go to cosmetology school. And I took my proficiency and got out of high school at 15, and then went straight into cosmetology school and got my license by the time I was 17 and a half, and started my life, you know. My brother and I started, we moved very quickly down to Sacramento. I got out of the town we were in, and I met a guy shortly after that. In fact, I don't even think I'd moved out of my hometown yet, and I was just so taken back by him. Had never met anybody like him, and he was Lebanese. So he had gone home to Lebanon, and he contacted me and wanted me to come out there and visit. And I decided to hop on a plane all by myself. I'd never been on a plane, and go to Lebanon. I didn't even tell my mom I was going, because I knew if I did, she'd stop me for sure, right? So I go there, and what an amazing experience. So his family owned the second largest construction company in Beirut, right? I mean, they lived in a palace. And they had a whole family of servants that lived there. And it was like, oh my gosh, I mean, nothing that I'd ever experienced, right? Here I would come from this poor girl, you know, from this small town, or, you know, all of this whatever. And now I'm here in this palace. And it was just such an eye-opening experience, you know. I saw like the light at the end of the tunnel. It was so amazing. What a wonderful gift that this trip gave me. And after that trip, it was crazy, because I come home, and of course the whole time that I'm gone, my mom's like losing her mind. She's calling every day and freaking out, and she, you know, here's all these small-minded people in this little town like, oh my God, did you hear about Candy's daughter? You know, she's being held as a slave in Lebanon, and you know, blah blah blah. And the people there were so nice to me. They were so nice. People were so nice. Like, it was so, I had no idea that it was going to be so wonderful, you know? And so I come home, and I was like a traveling fool after that. Every year for 10 years, I left the country and traveled somewhere, traveled around the world. And I went everywhere. And everywhere I went with someone from that country, or went and met with somebody. I wanted to see what the people were doing, the people that lived there. What are the locals doing? I don't want to be a tourist on a bus taking pictures. I want to know what they're really doing. And so I really got to see a lot, a whole lot, live a lot. I did a lot of living. I did a lot of living and a lot of partying and a lot of good times. And I knew that I would become a mother. And when I became a mother, I wanted to have all this out of my system, which I fully did. Because when I became a mother, that's all I cared about, is being a mother. I didn't miss not 1 second of not being a mother. So I did a bunch of traveling. I did really well in my career. I did hair, and then I ended up in a company where I ended up being an educator, and I would educate. I would go to, like, let's say, a Vidal Sassoon, right, and take one of their extended education courses, and then I would take that course and I would turn it into my own course, and then I would travel around the country and I would teach other stylists that worked for the company that I worked for how to do whatever it was that I was teaching them how to do. And I loved this. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. It was the most amazing career. I was so good at it. I remember I'd be like out all night partying, and then I would wake up late. I would run in like by the skin of my teeth on time, right? And then I'd totally pull it off. And at the end of the day, everybody's clapping and like, oh, what a good job you did. And I'd be like, man, I can't believe I did it again, you know? And I loved it so much. I had such a good time, and I appreciated it the whole time it was happening, because, you know, I've always known that nothing lasts forever, you know? So I really had a great time, and I learned a lot, and I did a lot, and that was a beautiful time in my life. So I'm going to leave it at that for now, and I will speak to you again soon.